Hello everybody, this is Evoke, and today I would like to talk a little bit about the elements and the associated genders. So, as I've been reading my books, progressing through my year and a day, I've noticed in nearly every single book, everyone has a gender associated or attached to an element. Now, for this reason, I feel people use this to help better identify with the god and the goddess, or whichever particular spirit they worship or they are linked to. Um, but there's something about this that happens to bother me. I've been, in the past I've read books about elements, and I use two sets of elements. For the Chinese elements, there are fire, water, tree, metal, and earth. And in witchcraft, Wicca, or paganism, they traditionally use the elements of air, water, fire, earth, and spirit. And when I've done some research, when you do spell work or meditations or any type of work that uses the energies of any elements, you notice that everyone associates a gender. And this is something that I would like to unravel. Everyone has a sort of divide. Let's just take the witches pyramid. There's lessons that everyone learns from each corner of the pyramid, each pillar, as people would say. And they're divided between the god and the goddess. Typically, fire and air represent the god, and water and earth represent the goddess. And this is something that bugs me on some level. Most of the time people don't pay attention to it. I've looked online, and there are some videos, but not many, when they talk about degendering certain elements or degendering many associations in general. With fire, people see fire as aggressive, fast, being strong, having power, having willpower, being assertive. It represents destruction, renewal, passion. Air represents, or could represent, discipline, intelligence, communication, swift action, forward motion, and outward energy. And like I said, these are seen as masculine, primarily because the typical, or stereotypical, should I say, male is seen with these qualities, with being aggressive, with being being strong, with having power, being a provider after working hard, and being the backbone of the family. Whereas women are seen as having a higher concentration of water and earth, of being nurturing, of being emotional, of being yielding, and being being able to reshape, being able to be in touch with one's senses, being in touch with the earth, being a mother, providing in that sense as a way a mother would. And these are all part of the gender dogma I feel people inherit before birth. The world is is stuck in this type of dogma, and I feel that I should speak up a little bit about taking away gender from these elements, because they honestly aren't supposed to have genders attached to them. And the reason why I say this is because the elements themselves are a power source. The book that I read about the Chinese elements was about identifying your strengths with elemental magic, what elements stand out the most that you use in a positive way, which ones maybe aren't, cultivated or developed as much as your ones that you're stronger with, and the ones that are weakest, or the ones that are out of balance. It's all about bringing into balance each and every element that you have, because the more balanced you are with all the elements, the better your life will be. And the same thing with the witch's pyramid. When they go through air, water, fire, earth, and spirit, everything is connected, and it leads to a better life in general, in, being mundane or magical. It helps. And I had seen a picture in, I forget the name of the book, but it was a picture of someone standing in a circle, and around this circle they had the different elements. And instead of having, the little symbol of fire, or, a man holding a fiery sword, or a man holding a ball of air, they had both a man and a woman representing the element. And I like this one more because it includes both genders. It doesn't separate. And, while this might not be an issue for some who don't think about it, for others who are particularly using different energies that they're not used to, this might raise some questions. And I'll use myself as an example. I have recently gone through a big move. Before my move, I had a high concentration of earthy energy, of water energy, and some air energy. But now that I've moved, I feel that I'm more assertive. I use my passion, I use my strength, I use, to some degree, my aggressiveness and my power to help me get along. And, I've started feeling that I was more mannish, and then I stopped myself because I was associating gender with an element. Just because I am female does not mean that I can't, I am being manly because I have a higher concentration of these energies. And when people associate certain elements to the god and the goddess, I feel that they're sending the wrong energy out for the archetypes that they are. The god and the goddess represent everything within the earth and everything beyond the earth. They therefore the goddess represents water, earth, air, fire, spirit, metal, star, whatever element you can possibly come up with. That's what the goddess represents. The god and the goddess are the same. They are two aspects that we have to identify with to relate to the great spirit that they both represent, which is in all things. And so looking at the notion that elements themselves have genders, I feel is one that we can do without. It doesn't really help us. It doesn't really do anything. Now, for certain goddesses, there are specific gods that that is just purely a fire element, or a god that is purely a water element, or have a heavier concentration of that type of elemental magic because of who they are and what they represent. This is fine, but as long as you realize that the god and the goddess themselves, the ones that all the goddesses represent, are linked and are the same. They aren't limited. They aren't narrowed down to certain energies. And neither are you. We are like them. We are part of them. And so you can be a guy and have a high concentration of water and earth, and shouldn't have this notion that you are being feminine, and that somehow takes away from who you are or changes who you are, because those energies were with you all along. All energies are. And the same thing for women. You can use the energy of fire and air and not feel like your femininity is being strapped away because you're being what people stereotypically call masculine. So I hope this helps. Please tell me what you think about this. There are a few videos out there. I recently have watched Teal Scott's Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine. If you haven't watched it, please do. It helps people, learn a little bit about themselves, see if they're resisting their gender, and figuring out what gender really means and how we relate to it. So blessed be everybody. Have a great day.